If you can get your consciousness wrapped around these two things, then I guarantee that you'll become a success in your life. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your Coach Renz. I want to thank everybody who's just now finding me. Hit that subscribe button. I want to thank everybody who's already a subscriber and a patron. I appreciate you guys always. And if you want to participate in our giveaway of a 10-pack of Uncle Renz popcorn, type hashtag Uncle Renz popcorn down below in the comments. Also, you have to share this video and be a subscriber. Hey, here's the thing. Many of you are already defeated in your mind before the enemy even has to take the time to try to defeat you. You already got an enemy so built up in your head that your true enemy outside of you don't even have to put forth an effort. I'm going to talk about two different things that's stopping you from being able to be successful in your life. The first one is the enemy that's in your head. The fact that you got all kind of reasons and rationales as to why you can't accomplish something. Because you've scapegoated other things in your life to say that this is the reason why you're not successful in your life. I'm reminded of a person that I was talking to some years ago. This young man had been to prison, got out of prison. While he was out, then all of a sudden he said, I can't start a business. I can't get a job because I got this felony. I can't start a business because I have this felony. And the system, the man just doesn't want to give a brother a chance. I had to look at him. And I said, look, let me ask you a question. What makes you think that you can start a business now? What is emboldening you? What's motivating you? What's transforming you? What's inspiring you to open a business now? And he told me that while he was in jail, you know, he had time to focus. And while he was in jail focusing, he started listening to Les Brown. He started listening to Zig Ziglar. He started listening to Tony Robbins. Then he started reading books by Napoleon Hill. He started reading books about Warren Buffett. He started reading The Richest Man in Babylon. He started reading all these books that they had in the library. And those things transformed him. And now he wants to start a business. But they set him up. Now that he has this felony, he can't start the kind of business that he wants to start. So I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Were all those books, were all those speakers, were they available? Were they in existence before you got that felony? And he was like, yeah, they was in existence, but I didn't know about them. I didn't know about them back then. So you had, they were in existence. You had the access, but because you didn't take the opportunity to go and take and have that access, utilize that access, it's the man's fault. Because you were so distracted. See, let me tell you what happens when you go to jail. You see, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Coach Renz, a couple years back, my father passed away, forgot that I had a traffic accident, forgot that I had a ticket, forgot that I had court, caught up into my father's death. A couple years go by, get pulled over for a tag light infraction, find out I had a warrant. Had to go to jail. Had some problems getting me transferred from one place to another. I spent 7 days in jail. And during those 7 days, jail gives you a chance to do one or two things. Either you can get caught up in the minutia of everybody that's going around, or you get focused. You get focused. So of course, I got focused. I meditated. I got focused. I saw my life how I want it to be. I got focused. You see, oftentimes people go to jail and they get focused. They don't play around with the guys who want to stay up all night and sing rap songs. They don't want to play cards and checkers. They don't want to sit up here and watch television and movies all day. They don't want to talk about how they've been framed and how they out there just ain't trying to let a brother have nothing. No, they get focused. This young man got focused while he was in jail. But see, while he was out of jail, when he was free, before he made that call to take on that felony, he wasn't focused. He was distracted by life. He was distracted by bills. He was distracted by women. He was distracted by his friends. He was distracted by basketball and sports. He was distracted by the drug game. He was distracted by everything else that's going on in this world around you, that it wasn't until he got to jail and all these things were taken away from him that all of a sudden now he's focused. So I had to ask him, I said, well, you weren't focused back then. You weren't focused enough because the libraries had the books. The libraries had the books. The internet had the videos. The internet had the writings. The internet had the seminars. These people were doing seminars all over the place. You weren't focused. Your time and energy was spent doing something else. time and energy is being spent focusing on the things that got you that felony. And nobody made that decision to give you that felony. Well, you know, it's hard out here for a brother. You know, I was coming up, the schools didn't teach me nothing. Did you apply yourself in those schools? What kind of grades did you make in those schools? Did you put yourself in a position to be able to go to college? Did you put yourself in a position to be able to go into the military? Did you put yourself in a position to be hired? Did you put yourself in a position then that could have given you the motivation, inspiration, the transformation in order for you to start a business then? Did you put yourself in that position, or were you distracted? Well, that ain't how people was doing. That ain't how people were doing, but I ain't asking you about people. I'm asking about you. So I'm asking you right now. Are you distracted? Are you out of focus? Are you paying attention to everything else that's going on in the world and then scapegoating the man, the government, Trump, Obama, black people, white people? Are you scapegoating everybody else for why your life is not moving in the direction that you have verbally said that you want your life to move in? Are you scapegoating everybody else? That's number one. That's number one. You see that enemy? That enemy outside you, that your true enemy, the ones who are out there trying to put roadblocks, you can't overcome the challenges of the roadblocks because you already created so many roadblocks for yourself. You got to remove your own personal roadblocks before you can overcome the challenges that the government do put out there, that people who want to oppress you put in front of you. Until you get rid of your own roadblocks, then they don't even have to put their roadblocks up. They don't even have to put the mountain in front of you. You don't even have to worry about moving their mountain, because the mountain that you placed in front of you yourself is standing there. It's blocking you. It's keeping you from moving forward. And the only reason it's there is because you've created it. You've created it. You are the one who's not focused. You're the one who's not getting your daily tasks accomplished. You're the one who's sitting up there making excuses. You're the one who's waiting for some external being to come down and change your life for you. You're the one who's walking around and you have no goal. You're the one who's walking around waiting for your husband, waiting for your wife, waiting for your children to grow up, waiting for something else to happen that's really just in your control. It's in your hand. And then when you do overcome those things, then you'll be ready to face the challenges that anybody else placed in front of you. You'll be ready to face the challenges of your competitors. You'll be ready to face the challenges of all the different hoops you got to jump through in order to start your business. You'll be ready to face the challenges of all the hoops you got to jump through in order for you to get into the schools or do whatever it is that you need to do. Nobody's stopping you from eating healthy. Nobody's stopping you from exercising. Nobody's stopping you from doing any of those things. Nobody's stopping you from starting a business. Nobody's stopping you from becoming more educated. Nobody's stopping you from not spending more money than you make. No one is stopping you from making the decision of to overextend yourself. No one is stopping you but you. And then when you get past yourself, then you will recognize that the enemy outside of you has no power whatsoever. So recognize who you are, the being that you are, the abilities that you have. Recognize that you are your greatest enemy. You are the one that's stopping you. And when you recognize that and you overcome yourself, when you learn how to train your mind, train your consciousness, train your heart, train your energy, train every aspect of you, then you will become the champion. You will start that road to become a champion. And then you won't even have a problem with the second thing. You won't even have a problem with the second thing. And this is the second thing that's stopping you guys. Now, I could have put this in the first one, but I want to separate it. And that is that you hear these messages from motivational speakers, inspirational speakers. You hear these messages from ministers and imams who sit up here and tell you, don't worry about the how. Just have faith. Just know that things are going to work out in your favor. Don't worry about the how. Let me ask you a question. If you go to the bank and you say, bank, I want to buy a house. Give me a mortgage. And you tell the bank, hey, bank, I don't need to fill out this financial application. Don't worry about the how of how I'm going to pay you back. Does the bank go for that? Does the bank say, okay? Does the bank say, that's fine? The bank say, we're going to walk in faith? No, the bank wants to know your how. How are you going to pay us back? for the money that you're asking to borrow to buy this house. When you go into the bank and you say you want a business loan, you go to some investors and you say, I want a business loan because I want to start this business. This business has been put on my spirit. This business has been put into my mind. It's coming to my consciousness. I know that this business is for me to walk in. You have that faith of your business and you come to the investor and you say, I don't need to have a business plan. I don't worry about the how. The how is just going to happen. Not worry. Serendipity. I got God on my side. I have motivation on my side. I have inspiration on my side. That investor is going to say, what you're not going to have on your side is my money. My money is not going to be on your side because you do not know the how. You have to know the how of something. Without knowing the how, then it's not going to work. Now, I know you guys are saying right now, well, you're taking it out of context. You're taking it out of context. You can't know exactly how things are going to happen. True, you can't. You can't sit up here and plan for it. Sometimes things just fall into your lap. Yes, they do. They fall because of cause and effect. That's how they fall into your lap. Here's the thing. Can you meet the investor if you don't go put yourself out there? You may say, well, I need to get money in order to start my business. I'm not going to worry about the how. I'm just going to sit in my house and the investor going to knock on the door, or it's just going to come across my lap. It doesn't work that way. There's the law of cause and effect. You want to know the how? The how may not be the complete story, but the how is the fact that you got to get out there and get moving so that you can start to discover the path. The how might be is say, well, I know I need to get investors. So where do the investors go? Where are the investors? Where do they meet? Where do they eat? Where do they work out? Where are the investors? What entertainment do the investors go and participate in? That may be the beginning of your how, but you got to have some level of a how. You got to have some level of a plan. You got to have a definiteness of plan and a definiteness of action. If you have a definiteness of purpose. When you say that these things are going to happen in my life, you may have a definiteness of purpose. You may believe in them wholeheartedly, that they are coming, that they are manifesting in your life. And that may be your definiteness of purpose. But without the definiteness of plan and the definiteness of action, that is your how, then you will never succeed in fulfilling that plan. The graveyards are filled with dreams and goals and purposes that were never fulfilled, that never happened. Most of you die with so much on your plate. Most of you leave the table with so much on your plate. Most of you leave the sale with so much money left on the table because you never realized that if you don't plan and take action towards your plan, and like Patton said, a plan that doesn't have the ability to adapt, doesn't have the ability to change, is a plan that's already failed. So yes, you may not have every aspect, every detail planned out, and every aspect and every detail may not work in the way that you want it to work. And then you start to learn and see how to make adjustments. That is not walking around in faith. That's walking around with a plan. That's walking around with the how of how things are going to manifest themselves. You cannot say, I'm going to create this product. I'm going to open up this store. But you don't have a how of marketing. You don't have a how of deciding how you're going to open up the store. Where are you going to open the store? What's the location? How do you choose the location? Who's your customer base? How do you attract those people? Where is their attention at right now? If you're not focused on the how these things come into manifestation, then guess what? It will never come into manifestation. We can meditate. We can write down our goals. We can have vision boards. We can do all those things. But if we don't take actions towards a definite plan, then your how is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You'll be sitting up here talking about how you're a testimony, that you must be getting ready to be a testimony because you're going through so much that you're getting ready, that there's a big testimony for you later, that you're being tested so that you can have a testimony. Your testimony is going to be that you survived. And that's it. That you survived. But I got to ask you a question. Who wants to just survive? Isn't it time for you to thrive? Isn't it time for you to stand on top of the mountain and declare yourself a champion? Isn't it time for you to stand on the mountain and say that I've been knocked down plenty of times, but every time I was knocked down, I got back up? That I went down this mountain, up the next mountain, and climbed to higher peaks? Is it time for you to say that I have a higher vantage point, that I have a higher mind, that I have a higher consciousness, that I have higher finances, I have higher health, that I've reached the top, I reached the pinnacle? And even when I reached the pinnacle, I saw that there was a greater pinnacle to reach, a greater mountain to climb, that every top that I think I'm at is merely a plateau to get me to the next level. And then I challenge that next level and start moving forward in that one. Isn't it time for you to thrive? Isn't it time for you to stop trying to rob Peter to pay Paul? Isn't it time for you to stop having poor relationships? Isn't it time for you to stop having poor health? Isn't it time for you to become the greatest version of yourself? Isn't it time for you to thrive and no longer survive? Is it not your time? Is it your time? I believe it is. I believe it is, and I know it is. But in order for it to be your time, you have to let go of the enemy inside. Stop being your greatest enemy. And if it's not your time to thrive instead of survive, then it's time for you to have a definiteness of purpose with a definiteness of plan, followed up with definiteness of action. Because you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.